We're about to do the plant tour. Okay, Mike with Price Paul here. We are starting our NutraBio plant tour. I'm here in Middlesex, New Jersey with Mark Glazer, founder and owner of NutraBio. And so, Mark, give us the lowdown.
Okay, so we're about to take a tour of the facility. This is a CGMP facility regulated by the FDA under 21 CFR 111. So the whole process here starts with the raw material, okay? First thing we have to do is qualify a vendor. We have to make sure that the vendor meets our specification and our standards.
On the incoming raw materials.
On the incoming raw material. Then we have to test those raw materials before we'll even consider using that. Once we go through this whole process of qualifying the vendor, that's just level one. We believe in this concept of trust, but verify. So every single ingredient, every single batch, every single lot of every ingredient that comes into this facility goes into the warehouse next door, and it gets quarantined there. Nothing's allowed in this facility at all. QC will then have a sample taken of that in a clean room. We'll do certain testing inside here for identification, through FTNAR, for particle size, for pH. We'll do a whole barrage of tests to make sure that that material starts and meets our basic specification. If it does, every batch gets sent out to a third-party lab, and it gets tested for purity, potency, microbial, whatever we have to do to make sure that material matches our exact specification. Once the lab gets back all the results from internal testing and external independent testing, then they decide if it meets our specification or if it does not meet our specification. Now, it's important to understand that we do this for every single lot. We don't skip lots. We don't do 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10. Every batch, if we get in a truckload of creatine and there's 6 batches in there, we test every single batch, but not just one test on the batch. We will take samples, representative samples of the entire batch to make sure there's nothing wrong with it.
Like from the top to the bottom?
Yeah,
like
if one drum passes, what happens if there's wrong drums in there? What's happened if they mislabel? And they have done that. We had a truckload of leucine come in once. We took all our basic testing, everything passed initial specification, sent out to third-party lab. It passed at 99% purity and everything passed. But in the continuation of the identity testing, testing multiple drums, we had 7 failures. So 7 of those drums were not leucine, they happen to be isoleucine.
Really?
Yeah, so if you're not testing the entire batch, you can have problems.
And so what happened there, what did you do to resolve it? Or
Well,
you just
first
said
thing
no?
once there's any mistake like that, it's automatically quarantined, rejected, and goes back. We don't pick these drums.
Right, yeah.
Everything
No
goes
way.
back, and we don't reorder from that manufacturer. We have to find out what happened. We have to see if their standards for their procedures match our GMP standards.
Right.
In this case, they did. They opened up their container and they had a bunch of drums that were not marked. So they just slapped labels on it. They did not test each of those drums. Well, that's not up to our standard.
Right.
We disqualified that vendor and will not buy from them again until they can prove their quality standards have changed. So getting ingredients in, making sure that you get proper ingredients, you test the ingredients, that's the whole starting point. Otherwise, it's GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Your formula can be great, your manufacturing process can be great, but you have to make sure every single ingredient reaches an exact specification. And all those specifications, by the way, are logged. They're on signed off documents. They're not just, oh, it should be this. There is a written specification that's signed off by the lab. Every single ingredient has to match every specification. We don't take a product in from India or China, take their C of A that we can't even understand and say, oh yeah, there it is. It says 99.9% pure. Throw it in. We scientifically validate, and that's, by the way, the law.
Right.
The law and CFR 111 says that we have to scientifically validate. We have to test each product. We just can't take a C of A from the vendor and say, yep, there's my proof. No, we have to check pH. We have to check not just one item, but multiple items on there to make sure we're getting exactly what we're supposed to be getting.
And that's before it even gets in the door into this facility.
Before it's even allowed in here.
Right.
That gets quarantined next door. Once the QC lab, quality control lab, passes it, they'll give a sticker, and only they can produce those stickers that will go on every single batch of every single bottle of every single drum. And once that sticker's on, then it's allowed into our facility.
Gotcha. All right. Step 0 right there.